Today, I announce my retirement. Tuesday, June 30th is my last day as professor of biology at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy. Yay! I should be feeling free and easy. I should be feeling like a big weight has been taken off my shoulders, but I'm not. Part of me looks back at what I did for 43 years as a scientist, 27 of them at RPI. Part of me is trying to pull my eyes away from the past and focus on the future. I stand at the crossroads of reassessment and repurposing, trying to figure out what to do. What do I do with my talents, my obscure talents? I can play the viola, and I can separate cells into their component parts, but not at the same time. When you're at the crossroads, you have to make a decision. To make a decision, you have to consider who you are and what brought you to the crossroads. Life is a play in 3 acts, they say: childhood, working life, retirement. I'm starting Act 3 now, and thank you for letting me tell my story today. Let's review the previous 2 acts so I can set up Act 3. Act 1 was childhood. I had a good childhood. I did well in school. My senior year in high school, my friend Stephen convinced me to run for the student body vice president. He would run for president, and we would be a team. I won, but Stephen lost to the quarterback of the football team because it's a popularity contest. So, running the student council pretty much fell to me because the leadership skills of a quarterback do not translate well to student council. He didn't mind, so I organized everything. I organized the homecoming dance. I organized a debate on Proposition 13, which was the property tax revolt of 1978 in California. I organized my first Earth Day cleanup. We collected thousands of cigarette butts, and we were so proud. Childhood threw challenges my way, and I took them and I swallowed them. I ate them up. I juggled them. I learned that I was up to the challenge. Challenges would be my life from then on. I would seek them out instead of waiting for them to come to me. I got pats on the back for my attitude. And nobody said, "Be careful what you wish for." Not at that point. Act 2, work life / adulthood. In adulthood, I attempted to repeat the successes of my childhood, to relive the boost of joy I got from being recognized as a good organizer and a somewhat good musician and good at math. I was almost too much of a good thing. I had to reassure my friends that I sucked at football and pretty much all other sports. In adulthood, you don't get prizes for just showing up. You have to do well. And when you do well, you get promoted to the next level and on up until you find the level at which you are incompetent. At that point, they stop promoting you. I made it all the way up to professor because I had done great things at the level just below that, the level of postdoctoral scholar, and having done great things in science is subjective, like a popularity contest. As an award for your popularity, they take you out of your comfort zone and give you tasks you were never trained for. For example, teaching. No, PhDs are not taught how to teach. And grant writing. No, you don't learn writing working in a lab. But I was addicted to challenges. So I had to find a way to feed the addiction. So I wrote a grant application to the National Science Foundation, and in it I proposed to solve the protein folding problem, sometimes called the holy grail of biology. Solving how proteins fold would link DNA to actual life. Life being defined as a collection of molecular tools in the cell. There was no grander challenge in my field. It was like proposing to cure all cancers. The nice thing about grant writing is that you get to redefine words like life to suit your narrative. So I did get funding. I thereby checked off the grant writing box on my job description, okay, after a few misfires. I also checked off the box of publishing in my job description, but I never solved the grand challenge. I never solved the protein folding problem. And when someone else did, not by chance, it was my former postdoc advisor, there was no more funding for the also-rans like me. The financial scaffolding of my lab and that of many other labs suddenly collapsed, and we had to reinvent ourselves on the way down. It was tough. Professional failure is not something you want to look too deeply at, much less share with an audience. It hurts, of course, to fail at one of life's big challenges. It's not a huge hurt, not as much as losing a child, but more, say, than like losing a basketball game, like the NBA Finals. That hurt for San Antonio. Go Knicks. But that hurt will go away faster than it does if you fail at a professional challenge that you dedicated your life to for a decade or so. People said, "You brought it on yourself, Chris, shooting for the moon like that." Maybe they're right. It was too much. Too hard, they said. Reinvent yourself. This time, tone it down. Pick an easier problem to solve. So I set my sights on solving global overpopulation. You see how bad this addiction. Anyway, I decided to design a vaccine that would provide 1 to 2 years of contraception, a contraceptive vaccine. Overpopulation was largely due to unwanted pregnancy, said the stats. So, if we could vaccinate everybody against pregnancy, anybody who wanted to be vaccinated, and design it so that it could be reversible on demand, which is actually very easy because all you have to do is block the antibodies, then there would be an estimated 45% fewer births each year, and they would only be wanted births, not unwanted. And population would stabilize, and the earth would heave a deep sigh of relief. You know, fewer people, fewer cars, less CO2, less climate change. And vaccination is cheap. And it doesn't involve messing with a woman's hormones or surgery or trying to get a man to wear something he doesn't want to wear. So I got past the funding step again. It was a good day, the day that they said I would be funded for my contraceptive vaccine. And we worked on it for 6 years, but failure came again to me like a reaper with a scythe. No more funding would be provided. I don't like analyzing failure because it sounds like sour grapes, but you should do it. You should analyze your failures, big and small, in the privacy of your own home, not from the pulpit, like me. Because in analyzing failure, you learn something. In this case, I learned that people It turns out funding agencies are made of people. Don't like it when you put the word contraceptive next to the word vaccine. It's not a rational reaction, but they think you are doing something Lex Luthor-like. Much of this is the anti-vax movement that tilted against Anthony Fauci during COVID, and it was based on false rumors that measles vaccine and tetanus vaccines were being spiked with human sex hormones that would lead to permanent infertility. Even people, rational people, who didn't believe the disinformation and did understand the potential global health benefits of a contraceptive vaccine were unlikely to champion in that atmosphere of disinformation. I mean, how would it look? They asked themselves, how would it look to them, the loonies? I mean, the disinformed. What might they do to me, think the funding agency people, on social media if they openly champion a vaccine that causes exactly what the conspiracy theorists are theorizing about? Here I wrote pregnant pause. So they didn't support it, of course. What was I thinking? People said, you brought it on yourself, Chris. Shooting for the moon like that, picking a topic that triggered many a nerve. Maybe they're right. It was too much. It was too hard and too provocative. Not getting funding meant my lab at this point had to be closed up. I couldn't reinvent myself again. The people all moved on, my people. It was the end of my pursuit of grand challenges. Or was it? So this brings me to Act 3, the bucket list. I got 3 more pages. It's also the name of the bucket list is also a name of a great movie starring Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman, and it's the to-do list for life. So now I'm considering my bucket list. I could have kept working, I guess. I reinvented myself again. I could have proposed to cure cancer or Alzheimer's or some other moon-shooting goal, but I didn't. I could have relaxed into a purely teaching role, but I didn't. Instead, I saw challenges in retirement that I could never undertake if I were engaged in teaching. I saw more viola, I saw biking, more Albany UU, more visiting my daughters in the countries where they live, more renovating rental properties under the new business we recently called Maria's Rentals. I'm ticking off bucket list items before officially retiring. We bought rental property and are actively renovating. I biked 100K twice so far this summer. I visited our daughter in Japan, and Spain is next. Retirement will be relaxing. But I can't have that. So I took on another grand challenge. My new grand challenge is to save democracy from autocracy. I have a good track record of taking on grand challenges and having them be conquered by someone else when my approach failed. So maybe the mojo will work one more time. I mean, I took on the holy grail of biology to solve the missing link between genes and life. I didn't solve it, but somebody else did. It was a huge team effort. They won the Nobel Prize for it. Perhaps the winners worked harder because the rest of us, the also-rans, were on their heels chasing them. Perhaps we all played a crucial role in spurring on the science, fanning the flames of the tournament mentality that drives science. So it was a joy to be part of that massive global effort that succeeded, even if my part failed. And I didn't solve overpopulation, but news item, it solved itself. It's in the news now because it is becoming increasingly obvious that the population of the world has stopped growing and might actually be stabilizing or dropping. More than half of the countries in the world, the US included, have a total fertility rate that is below the minimum replacement value. In the news, they say people are panicking about it, but I think it is only the investment bankers that are actually really panicking. They may have to invent a new stock market that does not depend on growth for its existence. But that's the economist's problem, not mine. It was a joy to work around the fringes of the population problem and then see a peaceful and harmonious solution arise organically. I never succeeded in making a working contraceptive vaccine, but it was as if the earth were listening to my prayers. My part in solving the population problem failed, but maybe they got the messaging, not my messaging, but the earth's messaging, and that got heard and taken seriously and led to smaller families by choice. So now I'm going to save democracy. Okay, maybe I should be more specific. I'm going to save the elections, which are essential for democracy, right? Saving elections will mean you will know for sure that your vote is actually counted and will be able to elect who we really want, not who the oligarchs of the world want. And maybe I should be even more specific. I'm going to save post-election manual audits of the ballots, which is what keeps elections honest. Without audits, public audits, it's like elections are open for hacking. No one would know whether the voting machines were hacked if no one actually compares the vote counts to the physical ballots. And hacking really, really is a threat. The rumors flying around about the 2024 elections involve a certain trillionaire and his Starlink satellite array and some business deals he made to get voting machines to be routinely connected to satellite modems that can talk to Starlink. It may just be a conspiracy theory, but why take the risk of declaring it false if it might be true? So we should prove the conspiracy theory wrong by auditing the vote. So my challenge is to save the post-election manual public audits. But maybe I should get even more specific. My little corner of this goal to make the votes count again is that I'm suing the state of New York to strike down a law that allows them, the boards of election, to use an electronic vote scanner to do the audit automatically. The audit which is supposed to be public and manual. Those words are written into the law for good reason. When you call it manual, you do it by hand, damn it. Do you hear me, New York State Board of Elections? If you're going to call it public, make it public. Make it observable, damn it. Can I see inside a ballot scanner? No. Do I know it is accurate and not hacked? No. Do you hear me, State Board of Elections? I've already started on this retirement bucket list challenge, so here's my progress report. It's a bullet-pointed list, just 4 bullet points. First, what I did, and then what they did back. If I won, I will play a bell. If I lost, I will sound a buzzer. Bzzz. 1, February 2025, I sent a formal complaint to the State Board of Elections. Check. Then April 2025, the State Board of Elections rejected my complaint. Bzzz. 2, August 2025, I responded to the rejection by appealing their decision to the state Supreme Court using the Article 78 appeal mechanism. Check. Then, October 2025, they dismissed my case based on me not having standing. Bzzz. 3, January 2026, I then submitted an amendment to the lawsuit that works around the not having standing thing. Check. Then, May 2026, the judge spent 3 months ghosting me and not ruling on the amended lawsuit. Bzzz. For May 2026, I then submitted an order to show cause to legally force the court to rule on my case. Check. Then, June 2026, this month, they acknowledged my order to show cause and agreed to an expedited ruling. Little tiny bell. That's where it stands. No success yet, but not failure. I'm so close. I can smell it. You want to know what it smells like? It stinks. It reeks. Is this the rise of autocracy? Is this what it smells like when you get close to it? It should not be so difficult to get the state to consider a complaint about a specific election law and just decide it based on its merits. Instead, I'm dismissed before consideration. I'm blocked at every turn. I'm getting more runaround than Lionel Messi at the World Cup. In short, so far, I can't prove they are not counting your vote, but I can prove that they can't prove that they are counting your vote. And if this whole thing fails, if my best efforts lead to failure in the New York Supreme Court, the grand challenge will continue and it will succeed. If history repeats itself, it will succeed. It won't be me, but somebody will succeed because it is a big team effort and the team keeps getting bigger. Just like the protein folding problem was solved by teamwork and the global overpopulation problem is being solved by teamwork, by global cooperation. This grand challenge of saving democracy, of putting our elections back on their feet, will be solved by teamwork. People keep asking me what I'm going to do in retirement. I just make up answers. I say I'm going to relax, travel. I'm going to do more music. And those answers seem to resonate with people, but they are not the whole truth. Being here now at this crossroads and writing about it has brought me clarity and a better answer. What I will probably really do in retirement is what I've done since high school. I will bite off more than I can chew. I will shoot for the moon. I will fight City Hall, throw rocks at Goliath. I will succeed rarely. More often I will fail. It doesn't matter, because the way things really get done, when that thing is really worth doing, is through massive teamwork, and teamwork only happens when you're in the game. It feels good to be in the game, to be part of something bigger. It always has. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Bishop Mariann Budde of the Episcopal Diocese of Washington, D.C. Bishop Budde was the Ware lecturer at the UUA General Assembly last week in Louisville. I was there virtually as a delegate, along with Peggy, Jean, Jan, Leah, and Kristen. Look for our report in a future Windows Weekly. Look up Bishop Budde sometime if you have a chance. She caught the world's attention on January 22nd, 2025 at the National Prayer Service, which is part of the inauguration ceremony of you-know-who. Her calls for mercy for immigrants led to her being denounced by you-know-who as a you-know-who hater, and she has not changed her tune since. She has not changed her tune. In the Ware lecture at the General Assembly, she spoke of the challenges of our time and how we face them. She said, We do not dwell for long on the question, why is this happening? But quickly move on to the question, what is this calling me to be? Again, we do not dwell for long on the question, why this is happening, but quickly move on to the question, what is this calling me to be? With these thoughts in your heart, please join me for a moment of sacred silence.